Hey guys, just want to record a quick video because in my last video I talked about how this is a new angle we're going to take. We're going to go after the personal injury side of things. And if I didn't explain exactly why, the reason is for doctors, personal injury pays better. And I know attorneys are spending a lot of money on advertising. So if I can create better advertising, I can get a piece of that pie ultimately. Yeah, that's really it. So anyway, for this video, I wanted to kind of set the stage for what's going on and what to expect moving forward. It'll be a short video. So if you're following the series, you'll kind of know what to expect. So personal injury is essentially a new product, right? In the past, I was advertising like different types of like body pains, knee pain, like like people who had arthritis, back pain, spine pain. And to make a long story short, ultimately we realized that those procedures, unfortunately, most insurances don't pay that well. But the insurance that does pay well is personal injury. Personal injury is probably one of the highest paying insurances of all of them, right? So that's why we're going into personal injury. But personal injury is a different. It's the same marketing is not going to work for personal injury. We have to generate new marketing. So now what I'm doing is I am going through that research process again, right? Trying to read and understand people who have an accident. What are they worried about? What are they scared about? What questions do they have? What anxieties do they have? What mistakes are they making? And I mean, I started this yesterday, but just to kind of get you up to speed, like one of the things that I love to do is go through Reddit, right? So I'll go through Reddit and I'll type like all the different types of questions that come up, like Reddit, what to do after a car accident, Reddit, should I hire a personal injury attorney, Reddit, should I see a doctor after an accident, or like Reddit, what happens if I have pain? Pain comes after, like 2 days after, 3 days after an accident. So I'll read all of these forums, and the reason why I like reading them is because there's a few things. One, you can kind of get an idea for like that list of things that I mentioned, like the questions, the concerns, the anxieties, the mistakes that they're making, like because they are ultimately not sure of what's going on next, and that's why they're going on to Reddit. So it's like such a valuable source of information when you're trying to do research on a market, right? So like right now, my job or my like ultimate goal is to really understand those who get into an accident, like what are they interested in, right? So I spent a lot of time yesterday doing that. Today I spent time looking at other personal injury firms and looking at their advertising and what they're doing. So like I can see that like the big thing that everyone kind of gives is like, hey, get a free case evaluation, right? So I know that if everyone's doing it, it probably works, right? So that might be one of the things that I'm testing. But ultimately, this is the research process. I'm looking at what people are saying, what the consumers are saying. I'm looking at what the actual like competitors are doing, what the law firms are doing, and I'm taking ideas from both of those. And then I'm also coming up with my own ideas based off of what I'm seeing, right? Like maybe there's an opportunity to get leads another way. I'm not 100% sure yet, but that's what's going through my mind. So anyway, I'm going through this research process. Uh, I'll keep this video super short, but if you're curious about like how I go through that research process in detail, just drop a comment and I'll make a separate video on it. And that way there's like a little bit more structure to it. Cause again, for me, it makes sense, but if you're just watching this, I know I can understand that it might seem a little bit difficult to follow. So anyway, that's the video for today. I'm going through the research process. I'm trying to keep you guys updated in terms of like what's going on and what's happening. As I go through the research process, I'm obviously taking notes for myself, but I will share that in a few days. Hopefully in the next like 24 to 48 hours, I can have some tests up and running. Um, I think I think one thing that's probably valuable here, I'll kind of turn my camera around real quick. Like one thing that could be valuable to share is I'm like, I wrote this for myself, but ultimately, I know it's kind of hard to see, but this basically says offer, big idea, um, what does that say? Offer big idea, niche problem you're trying to solve. So, and then you have these boxes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those 5 boxes, ultimately, those are what it's kind of a known term in advertising, but it's called the big idea. The big idea ultimately is like the core messaging that you're trying to run with, right? So like one of the ideas is like just going direct, right? Like, are you considering a personal injury attorney, right? That could be one idea. And then and because I know that the competitors are already running a like get a free case evaluation, I could literally just go, are you considering a personal injury attorney? Get a free case evaluation. And that's the whole ad, right? So that would be like one of those boxes. That's test number 1. Test number 2, and I'll explain why I do it like this in a second. Test number 2 might be like, for example, on Reddit, some of the comments that I noticed were, um, I don't want to like sue and hurt the other person, right? But I just want to make sure that my medical bills are paid for, and I want to make sure that like I don't have any like auto bills that I have, like they don't want bills ultimately, like they don't want the liability on themselves. So maybe like the second big idea is like get fair medical treatment and compensation, right? And like really focus on like being fair, not trying to be greedy, right? Like if you've ever seen these personal injury billboards, you've probably seen like $1 million settlement or like $300,000 settlement. Like that appeals to one crowd, right? Which is why we have those different buckets. But then another crowd might not want the $1 million settlement. What they just want is they just want for them to be okay, for their health to be okay, and for the other person not to get screwed, right? So that could be like a second one. A third one, which I've been noticing, is like a lot of the questions on Reddit were like, what insurance do I use? Do I use my auto insurance? Do I use my medical insurance? So maybe one of it is like, one of the big ideas is how to navigate insurance after an accident, right? And we create some sort of like guide that shows, hey, look, when you get into an accident, use your auto insurance first because you have something called PIP, which is personal injury protection, and that's ultimately what is dedicated to your healthcare. Once you exhaust that amount, then you go to your medical insurance, ultimately just explaining the fact that when you get into an accident, this is how you use your insurance, right? Like this is the sequence of insurance that you use, right? So, like obviously that third, so that would be the third example, right? So you have considering personal injury, get a free case evaluation. That's like big idea number 1. Big idea number 2 is going after like get what your get a fair settlement, right? Something that will cover your medical bills and your auto costs without screwing over the other person. That's like big idea number 2. Big idea number 3 would be like helping you navigate the insurance process, right? So that would be big. So those are 3 big ideas. So the reason why I shared this, and the reason why I wrote it down really as a reminder for myself, is because you can test, like you have leverage in the things that you test, right? And for example, how do I describe this? Like you can test how do I describe this? Okay, so let's go back to this, right? You have these 3 examples, right? The 3 examples that we went through, right, were very different. If I take one of those examples for, and I say like the get a fair result, right? If I take that and I say and I make like 5 different advertisements on that same message, that same idea, I'll get a difference, right? There'll be something like left, like, oh man, I know I'm like explaining this, but I want it to be visual. Like, I'm visual personally. Like, it could be as simple as the advertisement says, get a fair, get a fair compensation for your auto accident, right? And I do one advertisement in blue, one advertisement in black, one advertisement in green, pink, whatever, right? If I test that, right? So basically that would be me testing one of those, but multiple variations of it. If I do that, then I'm going to get some results. But if I test multiple different big ideas, right, against each other, then I know which idea is strongest, like what is people are going to gravitate towards. So this can get pretty complicated, but like I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So like of the three that I just mentioned, right? Are you considering a personal injury attorney, get a fair settlement, and navigating the insurance process? I would just take those three. I would make individual advertisements for each of them. I would make the advertisements super simple and super clear, and I would run them. And then I would look at the data after spending some money behind them and see which one is ultimately working best. Whichever of those three works best, I will turn off the other two and run with the one that's working best. Okay. Once I have that one, I will make multiple variations of that one, right? So here, I'll do a quick screen share. Okay, so I'll just show you this like visually, and then I'll end the video. I guess I already went longer than I wanted to be, but that's okay. How do I share? Come on. How do you share a screen? Sorry, guys. So, example one would be like, can I type in here? What was it? It was considering personal injury. And then I'll just do like get a free case evaluation. All right. So that could be like one idea, right? So that's one. And then can I just copy paste this? Yes, I can. Nice. All right. So big idea was get a fair settlement to cover med and auto expenses, right? So that's big idea number two, right? And the last one was get help navigating the insurance process, right? So these are my three big ideas. What I would do is when I'm running my advertising, I will test all three of these, right? And whatever of the three works best, I will take it. So let's just say it's this one, and then I will make variations of this, right? So I'll have like variation number one, variation number like whoops. I'll have like multiple different ads that ultimately say the same thing, but in a different way. But they're using that big idea, right? So like, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but like get help navigating the insurance process. So I could say something like, are you overwhelmed with the insurance process? Like, are you overwhelmed with everything you have to do for after an accident? That's like version number one. Version number two would be like, um, I don't know. Do you not want to deal with the headache of managing all the insurance adjusters and all that? That could be variation number two. Number three could be, are you worried you're going to have a bunch of medical auto bills if you mess up your insurance, right? But like they're kind of all these like little ideas that would fall under navigating the insurance process, right? The only difference is how I'm saying it. So again, if this one worked the best, then I would try those. And then I'm doing the same thing, right? Of those five, one of them is going to work the best. So I will delete the other ones. I will take that one and I'll do the same thing, right? I will just keep making new variations to try to beat that champion, what I call a champion ad. So right now I'm in the research process. The part that I am focusing on is coming up with these big ideas. So like here's three. Once I get those three, what I'll do is I will create some like basic ads, which I'll share with you guys so you can see it. And then once I create those advertisements, we're going to see which one works best. So, and I'm not sure which is going to work best. That's the beauty and the very painful part of advertising. Anyway, if you have any questions on this process, let me know. I'm happy to share more. More excited to kind of just show you what I've been doing and as I go along with it. So, please, if you have questions or comments, or want further explanation on something, comment it in the video. That way I know to address it in future videos or separate videos. All right, guys, that's the video. I'll chat with you all soon.